The name is Brandon Groce. And we are the Game Changers. Designers, creatives alike. We are in a world that runs on value. Our next designs will be the shiniest. Our next animation will be the most buttery. Ladies and gentlemen, Game Changers, let the games begin.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Editor X Live with me, your host, Brandon Groce. What is going on in the chat? We have Adrian, we have Manuel, and we have Alicia, and several others. How are you guys doing today? I'm super excited to be here with you all for day number 3, challenge number 2 for our Editor X Daily Creative Challenge. What's going on, Dimma? How are you doing? Glad to see you as well. So, with that said, today's challenge is purely about responsive design when it comes to Editor X, and I'm super excited to jump in with you guys to create a NFT homepage and talk about all responsiveness, how docking works, how fixed, fluid relationships work when it comes to responsiveness, and really just be able to help you guys with something you all really strongly wanted us to focus on for one whole 30-minute section when it comes to the challenges. So thank you guys for that feedback. And with that said, I want to say hello to you guys. If you are brand new to these challenges, let me know in the chat. With that said, since there might be some new people to the challenges and or Editor X, let me go ahead and go to my screen and we'll talk a little bit about how to join our challenges, join Editor X, and so on and so forth. But if you do have any questions about how all of this challenge stuff works, please do go to our Discord. Link down in the description so you can learn all about how the challenges work, how to submit your challenges or submit your work and all of that. We'll talk about that at the end of our challenge today, but in our Discord it gives you all the information about how the challenges work. Also, if you want to watch our session from Monday, you guys can find it on our YouTube channel from 2 streams ago. You can figure out how all of this works. With that said, let's go ahead to my screen. Diane, what's going on? Victor, what's happening? Hey, dab right back at you guys. Good to have you here this afternoon for me, but would love to know where you guys are chiming in from. I know Victor is over from Brazil. Let me know where the rest of you guys are at. So first off, if you guys haven't already, you definitely want to go to editorx.com, link down in the description. If you don't have EditorX or haven't signed up, just go to Start Now, sign up for free, and start creating responsive websites on your own and or with us for these challenges. Also, for those of you who have yet to join our Discord, and for who are wondering, for those of you in the chat who are wondering what exactly is this Discord, this is the place where we will announce all of our challenges, new features in Editor X, get your questions answered in a quick and direct fashion. Really, this is just a place for you guys to see what's happening with the challenges. It's a way for you to submit your work and a way for you guys to, most importantly, get your questions answered about Editor X and the challenges that you're having in the quickest format possible. So with that said, link down in the description. Please join our community. When you do join, you'll be brought to this page where it's basically saying, please read and agree to our community rules and guidelines. You can simply do that by clicking the rules here, clicking the agree button, and the rest of the channel should open up to you. And the most important channels for you guys are the weekly challenges. Like I said, this tells you what the challenges are all about, how to join us. And like today is day number 3, designing responsive, designing an NFT marketplace. I'll show you guys what we're working with in just a moment here. And the next 2 pieces that you will be most important in our Discord are the challenges section. We had 2 amazing submissions from yesterday's challenge, so I'm excited to take a look at these at the end of today's stream. And then we also have our Ask a Question channel where please just ask away all millions of the questions that you have, where you're stuck, and really just anything else. As soon as you ask a question, we'll make sure to get to you as quickly as possible. All right, so that's our house cleaning items. Try to do that as quickly as possible in 4 minutes. Very nice. All right, so now let's talk about what we're doing today, and then I'm gonna take a peek a little bit over to the chat because I see it elongating. What's going on, Marcelo? Diana says gamers know what Discord is. That's what, Diane, that's what I'm talking about. Diane says Kansas, that's what is up. Victor says greetings people from around the world. See, we're already such a nice community. It's beautiful. All right, so this is what we are working on today. We are simply going to be working on, because we only have 30 minutes. If we have time, we'll go all the way down to mobile, but essentially we are going to very quickly just show you guys how we bring this from desktop to mobile. And if we have time, I'll show you guys how we can bring this puppy down to, or excuse me, from desktop to tablet. And if we have time, we'll bring it all the way down to mobile for you guys. And also, one last thing, for those of you who are wondering, all right, Brandon, that's great, but where are we going to get these assets? You guys, the first link in the description will bring you to a link that has all of the assets that we're going to use for this project, accompanied with an Adobe XD design file, so you guys can have really the entire file, and you guys can, it's just the file. But if you just want to deal with, some people, use other programs. So if you guys just need the assets, there's a Dropbox purely with the assets. And if you guys use Adobe XD and you want to get a little bit more nitpicky with, what are the actual colors, things of that nature, that file's in there for you as well. So what we are going to do is I'm going to start a full new page here. So I'm going to go to my pages, and I'm just going to create a new page. We're going to start from scratch. And by the way, just in case I do see some new names, these live streams happen every day, or excuse me, every month, twice a week. These are not only just for tutorial purposes, but these 30 minutes are all about asking questions about, I'm working on something. You're like, Brandon, I've not tried that before. I have not seen that before. Can you explain a little bit of what it is that you're doing? And just pause because you're talking really fast. That's what these moments are for. Please take advantage of them. We also, past the 30 minutes, that's what our Discord's for. If you have any questions, please just drop them in there. I'm literally there all day. So this is all about just a new way to communicate in a more of a live manner. So what we're going to focus on, I'm actually going to duplicate this tab here. Gabriel, what is going on? Glad to see you, my friend. And by the way, if you guys haven't already, please make sure you like this video and subscribe, because we will be doing this on a consistent basis. And if you want to be a part of that, doing both of those things will help tremendously. All right, so we are going to focus on not so much the menu, but we are going to focus on our main section here. And basically everything that we talk about there, you can apply to the menu as well. So what we are going to start off with is we are going to get us some height in our plane section here. So I'm going to give me we'll do 900 pixels to begin with. And I believe our background image, yes, our background is a gradient. So what I'm going to do here is I am at first going to apply a grid just so we have a left and right section, or a left and a right of our section. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click my three buttons here. I'm going to quick add and image. And one thing I do want to know, I'm going to put a little poll in YouTube. I want to know how familiar you guys are with Editor X. All right, asking you guys. This is good information for us. Again, since this is month 2, we would love to know who is really coming to these things. How familiar are you, and how complex or how simple should we make this content? So that helps greatly. All right, Lorraine, good to see you. All right, so what we're gonna do is gonna change image. And again, all these assets that I have here, they are in our starter files linked down in the description, so you guys don't have to go and essentially just go and scramble for your own assets. So we have our gradient, and the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and create a container for our left side content. Again, there was a couple people asking in our Discord, is it best practices to, I'm going to make sure I'm selecting my section, go to quick add a container, and I'm going to drag this to my left side here and scale it full. There's a question in our Discord, is it best practices to have things organized within, or elements inside of a container? Honestly, as I'm going to be doing right here, it helps me tremendously when it comes to organization. especially when it comes to responsivity, like everything stays literally in its lane. And you guys will see what I mean by that. So I'm gonna apply a grid. I am going to do, I believe, 3 rows. It might be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 4 rows. I'm gonna change my grid here. I'm gonna add 1 more. Okay. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna give the top portion the most space here. All right, our paragraph doesn't need that much space. We need a row for our buttons. Our buttons don't need that much space. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up right about there. I'm essentially just making containers for the content that we need to put in there. And I am gonna leave this just as it is for now. And then for our right side container, I was a little lazy with the asset. I literally just left the name in here and just just exported it with it. So all we need to do for our right hand side of the section is just quick add image, change image, and we're just gonna pop in our asset just like this. I'm gonna go to my cogwheel, reset image, so we get the exact sizing of our image that we imported, and we're just going to center this both vertically and horizontally in our right section. Gabriel says Marcelo is the king of Editor X. Vicky is asking, if you make the browser smaller, will the if you make the browser smaller, will use the browser height? I'm not sure if that is a question, Vicky, or what exactly that is, but if you would like to clarify it a little bit, whether it's a question or a statement, I can help you out. BTF says, created the first website for ourselves. It took me ages because I had to learn, adjust on the go. It has 14 databases and originally written text and more. Awesome. All right, so there's quite a few people here. I'm glad you are joining. All right, it seems like the majority of you have some good experience with Editor X, and we'll see if this is applicable to you. All right, so what I'm going to go ahead and do next is I'm just going to get all of my content when it comes to our title. I'm just going to drag this in here. I'm going to also get my paragraph. I'm just getting the content set up here. What else do we need? And we need our 2 buttons. Quick add, button 1. And I'm just gonna Control D and have our button 2, and we'll edit these in just a moment. All right, so first things first, I am going to just, because I am not gonna type these again because we'll be here forever, I'm just gonna copy and paste our content into both our title and our paragraph here. From here, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna just change our font so we have Monument Extended, Regular. Go ahead, Monument Extended Regular, pow, and I'm going to do the same thing for my paragraph here. Monument Extended Regular. All right, and so now I'm just going to change, I think, the sizing. We have 14 pixels. Get that to where I want. All right, we're gonna make sure that I have my text white. And ladies and gentlemen, since the majority of you guys are pretty familiar with Editor X already, out of curiosity, what type of content, well, now I see there's a 50-50 in the chat. What type of content, because I'm gonna be looking through this later, what type of content would you like to see more of when it comes to Editor X? That's one thing that we have been, this is the second week of this type of content. We really are trying to figure out, we have basically a 50-50 split. We want to make sure that we're making types of content that is really balanced for the type of people who have the time and are willing to come learn a little bit more about the platform. So please let me know in the chat, and we will, as we continue to grow the content that we have here, we're going to really try to push a nice balance of both fundamental and more complex content. All right, so essentially what I'm doing here is I am setting up the responsiveness of our title here. Essentially what I'm doing and what I've set it to, give me a second here, is I've turned on basically scaling text. And at the smallest point, I want the text to go no lower than 30 pixels. And for the utmost size I want this text to be is 55 pixels. All right, so basically we're kind of like halfway there for our left side content. All we need to do here, and I think I'm going to forego this portion here just for now. You guys, after we talk about responsiveness, you guys will probably, if you want to on your own, be able to produce this last piece here, but I don't want to explain all of that, especially now that we got 15 minutes left. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to edit my buttons here. I'm going to select my purple color. I'm going to change the text here to Discover. And we are going to go ahead and change this font, not to Poppins, but to Montserrat, or Monument rather. I just use Montserrat so often, that's what I think that I'm going to. All right, now I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to duplicate this. And we are going to remove the background, add our border, 1 pixel, and we are going to make this puppy the hex code 979797. I can't tell if that's light brown or light gray, but I think that's what we're rocking with. And we're going to call it Find More rather than Discover. All right, so you guys have a couple of... All right, Dan says, I'd like to learn about cool trending page effects and how they can be done with EditorX/Velo. Awesome. Sanket says, tutorials on building e-commerce websites using EditorX. Hover interactions. Alicia says... All right, cool. So what I actually, on top of that question I just made you answer on top in terms of tutorials, would you prefer 30 minutes tutorials of very specified content, or would you prefer longer 1 hour complex tutorials? If you guys could answer that for me, that would be awesome. Okay, so from here, what I'm doing, the next thing that I'm going to do is we have basically these free floating buttons down here in our container, basically in our gridded container. To basically control how that is going to respond or keep them where I want them to, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to quick add a container, and I'm going to pop it inside of here. I'm going to turn off the, or turn down the opacity of the background. I'm going to apply a grid 2x1, and I'm just going to split this section how I would like, basically where I kind of want the buttons to stay, essentially. And of course, I think what I'm going to end up doing is going to be a little bit different than what I did in making this website. I think I'm going to take all this content and align it all the way to the left of this container. And I'm going to go to my layers here, because what I want to do is I'm going to Control X these buttons and Control V and put them in our container that we just made. Control X, Control V. All right, perfect. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my Discover button, left align it in our container, take our Find More, left align it to this grid here. Perfect. I'm going to make sure that both these buttons are horizontally, what is it? Centered horizontally. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this container and I'm going to squeeze it, because I am going to center this to our section's left grid. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now all I really have to do is I'm going to adjust this. So now the discover button is going to stay within this container, and this button, our find more button, is going to stay in our right container, just like this. So this is essentially the basics of what I want to start off with. Now let's talk about how things are going to move as we start pulling this down, because we don't want things to stay like this forever. For example, I don't want my text to scrunch like this. I don't want my text to scrunch like this. So let's talk about some of the settings that I will change to get the outcome that I want. So first things first, what I want to do is I'm going to start looking at these text pieces here. What I'm going to, and this is more so an art than a science, at least to me. I would love to know what you guys think in the chat. And I see the chat just like firing off. So I can't wait to, I'm trying to do like a back and forth. But I love the fact that you guys are really giving a lot of feedback. So thank you. All right, so what I'm going to do to start is I'm going to do 100% width for these text pieces here, just to start, because what I want to have happen is I want the responsiveness to be dependent on the container size. So right here, all of the text that we have in here is 100%, and it's going to, as we start scaling here, it's going to stay 100% of the width of the container, this container. So I'm just seeing, okay, I was happy with how things were smashing into each other here, but as soon as we get to this breakpoint right about here, I don't like what's happening. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fix that. So let's see what we can do. What I think I might do is I'm gonna take my container, is I'm gonna start messing with the container percentage here. So I'm gonna do about 80, give it 80% and start seeing what happens here. All right, it still breaks down to when we get to 1001 pixels. All right, let's see. So this is pretty close to tablet. So I'm gonna give this 90, see what happens here. Or we'll do 85. Let's see what happens. 85. We're gonna mess with this container here. So, and guys, what I really want to say here is that when it comes to responsivity, and I would really love to know what you guys think in the chat. To me, as I said, it's a lot more of an art than a science. I have an outcome in my mind, and I'm like, okay, I'll tell you guys my process, right? You guys will see me constantly going back to this drag resize, because I want to see, as I start compressing the page, what is happening, what do I like, what don't I like. And as things are happening, like for example, I'm really happy now with how this is compressing. The buttons need a little bit more work. I think probably I can add some padding to this. This button maybe like 10 pixels of margin or padding to the left, so these buttons do not run into each other and they're not that close. But that's essentially what I'm looking for. The science is, as I'm condensing, what numbers and elements do I need to add more attributes to give me the correct outcome or visual outcome that I'm looking for. And I do that by changing the docking. I change the responsive fluid percentage. So that's really what I'm looking for. For those of you guys who are wondering why I keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it's kind of the dance that we're doing when it comes to responsiveness. And I'm going to take a quick pause. We might go a little bit over the 30 minutes today, and I think that's fine. But I do want to make sure things like this are a little bit more complex, and I'm trying to find the balance of going too quickly and too slowly. So let me take a pause and read what you guys are talking about. Sanket says longer in-depth videos would be really helpful. Users can increase the speed if needed. Lorraine says, I think the longer tutorials are needed for showing the responsive tweaks needed. Definitely. Overall, a mix between the two is great. Perhaps just say ahead of time so we can plan accordingly. Got you. All right. BTF says I still need to learn what the best solution, pixel percentage, VH, VW, etc. is for each aspect. Understood. All right. And then Diane and Vicky, you're going back and forth. Vicky, thanks. That's what I've been doing. I just didn't feel like it was the most efficient way to do it. All right. What are you guys talking about really quick? I'd say that you can apply the text scale on the largest breakpoint and use the drag handles to test the smaller BP. All right. I think you guys are referring to just like the text scaling. But okay, note taken. Y'all seem to want some longer content, especially when it comes to responsiveness. This is a little bit more of a complicated topic. So like I said here, I don't like how these buttons are ramming into one another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my desktop here, and I'm going to click on my Find More button, and I'm going to add about 10 pixels to the left of that button, and it's docking essentially. It's giving me 10 pixels to the left. So we should be good there. All the way down to tablet. So we move into tablet around 1001 pixels. So now we're in tablet, and now we have a little bit of a break that I don't necessarily like of the text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here so I can see the true tablet, what's happening with the tablet here. And so now here is where I'm going to add additional rules. And then this is really what I want you guys to focus with today's challenge. I only want to see with this challenge the assets that I've given you, and just using with one section, bringing it nice and smoothly from desktop to tablet, and have everything respond in the way that you would like to have your outcome be, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and fix this. What I want to do here is I am going to, first off, I'm going to select my section here, and I'm going to push this over just a little bit, giving our container over here a little bit more space. Our image just did get smashed a little bit, but we can easily scale this up with the width. We're going to give this about 80%. And for these buttons, what I can do is I can either scale them down, or I could essentially make them vertical, but I think the vertical is going to be a little ugly, so we're not going to do that. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set these from fixed. I might set them to fluid. And we're going to play around with this. I think what we're going to do is we're going to change our grid layout, advanced mode, and we're going to give these, instead of FR, we're going to do percentages. We want 50% column width on the left and 50% column width to the right. Okay, and so what we're looking at is we're looking at a, let's see, our left button is bigger than the right because we have some padding here. I think what we're going to do here is we're going to just switch to fixed really quick just to get the width of this button. 178, copy, go back to here, set it to fix, and we're going to copy that size of that button just like that, so that we have equal sizing of our buttons. All right, so with that, and if I wanted to, I can come in here and I can, take off the padding, or the margin here. I can just set this to 0 because we have better spacing on this side of things when it comes to the tablet. And I think I kind of want this image to be a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to scale it up. All right, so I know we are about at that, we have about 1 minute, and I do want to take a look at the people's challenges who submitted yesterday. But essentially all I wanted you guys, especially from this project today, was purely for those who are brand new to EditorX, who have really been struggling with responsiveness. And what I wanted you guys to see was just using the concepts that we talked about yesterday, really using grids. What we started off with was one section, dividing it in half. One side an image, other side we put a container. In that container, we created a grid of 4. one part, the topmost grid for the title, second for the paragraph, third for a separate container that hosts 2 buttons. And if you guys want to, you can complete this fourth container on your own time if you so desire. But today is purely, once you have all of your assets in place on desktop, how do we control the responsiveness purely through manipulating the containers, manipulating the margin, manipulating the percentages. So I hope that makes sense to all of you guys. And if it does, please make sure to not only subscribe, but like this video and join the Discord for any additional questions that you have regarding what it is that we went over today, so we can help you walk through those things. All right, so with that said, let's hop over to our Discord very quickly. And before we do that, if you're watching the replay, or you guys are new to EditorX, to publish your challenge and submit it, very simple. Simply click the publish button in the right hand side of EditorX and copy this URL here. Go and jump over to our Discord, go to our challenges section here, and you guys will see at the top here, there's a format in which or you'll really see everybody else's format. All you have to do is copy this format, your name, the challenge number, and your URL for the challenges. Paste it in here. Add your name. For example, for me, Brandon Groce. Challenge number 2, since today is the second challenge of the month. And I am just going to put this here for all of you who want to have a reference. Perfect. So challenge 2 reference. I'll pop that in here. Whoops. I don't know why that just went to, all right, challenge number 2. All right, perfect. So I'll just drop this in here. And for those of you who, Charlie and Dimma, who submitted your challenges yesterday, let's take a peek at these. The project, or basically the assignment. And by the way, this is absolutely awesome, Dimma. The assignment was just to create a homepage of a pancake swap and using grids. Dimma, I see that you dropped some animations in here, which is absolutely beautiful. This is really nice work. I would pull this gradient in just a little bit, but well done. The assignment was not to do any responsiveness. It purely was to get your grids in order, get comfortable with separating sections, grids, how you're placing things, and having good structural elements, or good structural hierarchy when it comes to EditorX. So you guys understood the assignment. Excellent job. And I can't wait to see everybody's submissions for day number 2. So with that said, guys, that is it for today. I cannot wait to go through literally all of the suggestions and comments that you guys entered into our chat today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Especially, it's a pleasure to meet you, Vicky, Diane, Lorraine. It's a pleasure to have you back. Sankit, thank you so much for hanging out. Victor, always a pleasure. Alicia, and really everybody else, guys. Adrian, Marcelo, thank you for hanging out. Also, if you have suggestions for challenges, please. I'm going to go back to my desktop really quickly here. We have a section in our Discord. Literally, this is for you guys. All of these suggestions that you guys have put in chat for the live stream, you guys can put in here. We really try to work alongside internally at EditorX to make sure that you guys are getting the content that you want based on the things that you guys are making for yourselves, your clients, personal projects, what have you. So the more data you give us, the better content you'll get. And that's really it. That's what the Discord is for. Answer your questions, better the content. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, and we will be working on day number 4, which is hover interactions. So with that said, I will see you guys tomorrow, and smell you later. All right, Brandon Groce, your favorite host, out. See you then. Bye.